The snow fell softly against the towering glass windows of Anderson Enterprises, wrapping the city in a quiet, silver haze. Inside the sleek, modern boardroom on the top floor, the tension was thick enough to feel. The men in suits sat straight and silent, their expressions hard as ice. At the head of the table sat Daniel Anderson, the CEO known for his iron discipline and heartless decisions. To him, emotions were weaknesses, and Christmas was just another quarter to close. But that day, something extraordinary was about to happen, something that would melt even the coldest heart in that room. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread, where stories remind us that good hearts still change the world. Daniel's sharp blue eyes scanned the report in front of him. The company's financial charts looked strong, but one department, customer relations, had been struggling. He had decided earlier that morning that layoffs were inevitable. Numbers didn't lie, he believed. Feelings didn't pay bills. And the name on the top of the list was Emma Collins, a single mother of one, who had been working tirelessly as a junior manager. Downstairs, Emma hurried through the snow, clutching her old handbag in her daughter's hand. Her little girl, Lily, only 5 years old, wore a faded pink coat and held a small teddy bear missing one eye. Emma had promised her that after the meeting, they would visit the Christmas market together, but her heart trembled with fear. She knew today's board meeting could change everything. Rent was due. Bills were piling up. And losing her job right before Christmas would be devastating. By the time she reached the lobby, Emma's breath was shallow. She took the elevator up, praying silently. Lily stood close, sensing her mother's unease. When they entered the conference room, Emma was surprised to see Daniel already there, surrounded by his executives. The atmosphere was cold and professional, and her small daughter instantly drew the attention of the room. Daniel looked up, slightly annoyed. "Mrs. Collins, this is a closed meeting," he said sternly, though his voice was calm. Emma apologized softly and knelt to tell Lily to wait quietly by the chair. But before she could speak, Lily walked up to Daniel, her little boots tapping softly on the polished floor. Holding her teddy bear tightly, she looked up at the powerful man in the gray suit and whispered, "Please don't fire my mommy." The room froze. The executives exchanged awkward glances. Daniel blinked, unsure of what he had just heard. For a moment, no one spoke. The city skyline glittered behind him, but it suddenly felt distant and quiet. He looked down at the little girl's eyes, wide, innocent, full of fear and love, and something inside him stirred. It had been years since anyone had looked at him with that kind of pure sincerity. Years since he had even allowed himself to feel. Emma's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. She reached out to pull her daughter back, apologizing repeatedly. But Daniel stopped her. "It's fine," he said quietly, though his voice was different now, softer, uncertain. He studied the woman before him, tired eyes, worn coat, but dignity in her posture. He remembered reading her file, efficient, loyal, never missed a deadline despite working extra hours. But her department's numbers had dropped, and in his world, performance was all that mattered. Until now. After the meeting, Emma expected the worst. But instead of firing her, Daniel simply said, "We'll talk after Christmas." She nodded, barely holding back tears. She didn't know if it was mercy or delay, but it was enough hope to carry her through. Over the next week, something shifted inside Daniel. Lily's words echoed in his mind, haunting him. He began noticing things he'd ignored before, the janitor's tired smile, the receptionist's holiday decorations, the laughter of children outside the office building. He remembered his own childhood Christmases, before business, before success, before loneliness took over. His mother had always told him that Christmas wasn't about presents or profits. It was about people. On Christmas Eve, Daniel worked late as usual. The office was empty, quiet except for the faint hum of the city lights. He saw an envelope on his desk, from Emma. Inside was a simple handwritten card, slightly smudged, clearly made by a child. On it were the words, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Anderson. Thank you for not firing my mommy. Love, Lily." Attached was a small paper snowflake, cut unevenly but full of heart. Daniel sat still for a long moment, staring at the card. Something warm spread through his chest, a feeling he hadn't known in years. He put on his coat and stepped outside into the falling snow. The streets glowed with golden lights, and laughter filled the air. Without thinking, he found himself walking toward the Christmas market nearby. Among the stalls, he spotted Emma and Lily sharing a cup of hot chocolate. Lily's cheeks were rosy, her eyes bright as she looked up at the twinkling lights. Emma smiled gently, though Daniel could see the tiredness still in her face. For the first time, he didn't see an employee, he saw a human being doing everything she could for her child. He walked over and wished them Merry Christmas. Emma was surprised, speechless for a moment. Then Daniel handed Lily a small wrapped box. "It's for you," he said softly. Inside was a new teddy bear, identical to the one she carried, only newer and with both eyes intact. Lily's eyes lit up as she hugged it tightly. "Thank you, mister," she said, her voice pure with joy. Daniel smiled, a genuine, rare smile that softened his entire face. He turned to Emma. "Come to the office after New Year," he said. "We're not downsizing your department. In fact, I think we can do better, together." Emma's eyes filled with tears. All she could whisper was, "Thank you." That night, as Daniel walked home through the snow, he felt lighter. For the first time in years, he understood the real meaning of Christmas, not a season of giving gifts, but giving hope. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of the magic of kindness, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread, where every story brings a little more light to the world. And before you go, comment below, glowing star, do you believe that a single act of kindness can truly change someone's life? Glowing star. Daniel kept Lily's handmade snowflake framed on his desk from that day on. And every Christmas that followed, he closed the office early, making sure every employee went home to their families. Because sometimes, it only takes one small whisper, one act of courage, to remind even the hardest heart what it means to be human.
O sea que tiene lo suyo, pero hasta ahí.
Yo lo veo más aceptable que se peleen por fútbol que por política.
Pero no es más relevante la política que el fútbol.
Pero para mí, el tema de César, sin ningún tipo de duda. Porque igual estamos dejando de lado la política dentro del fútbol. Lo que yo estoy diciendo es que es más aceptable que se pelee. Cambiando de tema, ¿qué se hace hoy? Hoy ahora termino cierro esto, que no nos va a tomar mucho, y me voy a poner a jugar al GTA, amigo. Al modo historia. No estoy muy avanzado, lo agarrás bastante temprano, si te queda. Yo creo que